Your descent to the earth hummed like a midnight blanket of bees. We are the absence of darkness, chattering, the humble vocabulary of angels who no longer walk in light. Death splinters into wings. Birds crash windows, luminous and freeing like earthly desire. We have made trees shiver, moon wishes tumbling like cold stars. Listen, monk or monkey, you are both the same. A crow folds its wings into a black umbrella, unable to shield the earth from rain. A carpenter steadies us as we read of his life at our wooden table. His stories make the stars shiver. Each tree longs for transformation into something better. And Tinman. And the epigraph of this L. Frank poem as well. Hearts will never be practical until they can be made unbreakable. Especially in winter, the idea of him used to frighten me. His hollow places emptied like a horn, absent of sound or spit. One day, after years of plastic receivers, holy men on his dashboard urging him on with their waxy smiles, his heart stops. One day, after all those years of plastic plumbing, superior to copper which turns your hair green, PVC with a flap to let in the Grand Canyon at sunrise, areas where a teenager's open-mouthed kiss, after all this, his heart stops. Suddenly he shuts down, a tire with a puff of air sighing to the asphalt like a pocket watch. Round and round, his heart rolls to a stop. Instantly compatible, someone jumps the line to become his, bright lights glaring off metal, grizzle strong enough to filter through all his desires. He is real enough, a man in love with the dark earth, a gasp through his reedy ping of lungs. Knowing him, my own heart beats faster, wondering if he will survive this new muscle he is wired with attention, his tin chest large enough to contain those wild nights with an oil can for a brain. A murky tear slides down his face. Just for today, he is able to turn the doorknob on a rose. I don't know where I got that. A doorknob on a rose, but sometimes when I read this, I think, are you sane? Okay, so that was from the Wizard of Oz portion. I'll read from Jabberwock, which would be the Wizard of Oz. No, what am I saying? Alice in Wonderland portion, I'm sorry. It's hard not seeing, it's very disorienting. Hi, sweetie. Hook up. The mushroom upon which he sat, call it the world, was interesting enough. All that came before were potions and bottles of enchantment, RX labels, paper raincoats, making the earth fuzzy. Call her Alice for ease into this thought. Those harlot spells leaned against the mushroom shoulders of night. This may be too much to imagine in bright summer when plumes of trees fan the earth. Rain hammers down a length of stones under a parasol green cloud. Guests from the past sit with empty penciled bodies at a wormwood picnic table. The length of blue insect, call him caterpillar, languishes and recedes. Wisps of gray smoke become tubing, the long corpse of your father. No character at the table has nibbled the mushroom yet. Small and in awe, the procession of breath leaves the body. Tubes wind along, a serpent's at the door. Stars blink in the gray ash of midnight. Red embers tumble, incantations hit the ground. In the tall grass, firefly souls turn to soot as they litter the forest. You try like Alice to catch one in your hands. Vagrant wings close. The flickering night fails. Your father's mushroom eyes wither. The forest is a door banged shut. Okay, I'll do a couple more from there. After luminescence. She tells me I am the father of all caterpillars, sitting in the heat of the moon. I smoke my hookah, sleepy while warm air blows them city towards me, all my disciples, yet nobody knows my name. In mist and clouds, their hearts beat outside their bodies. They fall like stars in reverence to me. I am a tired old thing. How do we become magic when we are so small, when no one believes in us? How do we pick the truth off their insistent wings? I sit here like Buddha, luring them to me. A little girl, Alice, has cupped one in her hands. I've seen her pray like that. Wonder, how long will we stay stuck this way? When growing up means we will never have a conversation that really matters. And the chessboard. The great thing is having no mind, everyone controlling me. The red and white feelings as a skirt rustles, the comforting hooves of a horse. I am nothing if not a plateau of emotion. It doesn't matter how things turn out. All I am is hurry or absence. All I know is someone will win and someone will lose. I prefer the dark feathers under a crow's wing to the flame of a healing candle. The pieces are wood or ivory, but not quite human. They scramble towards defeat, a good imitation of flesh. When you think of absence, think of me. I am the most dependable when I am black and white without complications. What would become of them without a pawn, a queen, a castle, or a bishop? Without the rustle of the world, I am stupid. I am an empty field waiting for a black thunderbird to make me holy. I know. All right, I'll read Pocket Watch. There is a limit to being needed. I've been slipped in and out of a waistcoat, a lover and honeymoon sheets, only reliable if my tip is fondled. I am important only if I function in the tick-tock beat of the world. Oh, to be useless, a wild orchid in a field, ornamental or at the most romantic to bees and squirrels. Please keep me in mind as a well-oiled tool, but don't drop me in the treacle. There are two kinds of hair here. One is always late for supper, the other only occasionally sane. I've courted them both when the earth stirs slowly, just waiting for something to happen. I've decided to stop thinking precisely at noon. Maybe I'll skip faster during puddles and muddles or my maid day. I've been famous for having tea and toast and always beneath a ravishing sun. All right, and I'll read The Red King. The Red King in Alice in Wonderland was always falling asleep, I believe. You could say I will go out and bang like a candle the moment the Red King opens his eyes. The air over our head will dissolve into rain. I might not breathe if I only exist in his brain. But think of it this way, if he did invent me, as all of those cards thought, at least conjure me wearing silk, a peacock paisley pattern, and then invent me with a Rapunzel hair, more than a handful, enough for a brick tower, enough to lure our next ex-king. His snore, the brothers say, was more than a growl. It awakened the planet. How do they see me, homely or pretty? Do I raise a fist or hurry fearfully away? Do they want me to eat the cake and become the size of a mouse, or have them grasping my ankles while I loom over their roofs? Are we real or just another king's lightning tempest? The Red King's snores expel into the air. See the ghosts rise from his lips, spirits scatter from his unreasonable demands. Me? I choose to believe 6 impossible things before supper. I hold each one of his ghost walkers by the hand. We skip merrily away, slip into the next dreamer's morning. And that's the part of that's Alice in Wonderland. What time do I have, Carol?
About 10 minutes.
Okay. I'll do you a couple D.H. Lawrence then. D.H. Lawrence famously wrote about a fox, and so my next book that I'm working on is called Fox's Fate Totem. He had a red beard, and he looked like a fox, I believe. He was not a pleasant-looking character, D.H. Lawrence. He was unfortunate-looking, I think. And I think he beat up his wife, too. So I go into these things thinking I'm not going to really like Alice, or I'm not going to like this one or that one, and I changed my mind. And I really loved D.H. Lawrence, and then I read a lot about him, and I was like, oh, I'm not happy with you. You're such a romantic character. How could you be so ambitious, you know? But anyway, I'll read a couple D.H. Lawrence poems. All right, The Dream Fox. In the year 1918, there was not much food to buy. The youth stole the dark eyes of the fox. The youth had fallen from the dark eyes of the fox. When he lifted his clouded blue eyes, she remembered the rabbit and wild duck flying high towards the wood that he had shot. Again there was silence. A cunning little flame came across the youth's face. A gleam of red fed the fine hairs on his cheeks. She put away the thought of him. He walked towards the wood's edge with his gun. The youth had stolen the dark eyes of the fox. He was the master of the girl. He would catch her as you catch a deer or woodcock when you go out to shoot. It became like a fate. The girl had fallen from the dark eyes of the deer. The fox. Since the war started, the fox was a demon. Rippling the dark grass like a red braid, he wove his way like a barnyard tarantella. By the end of August, the light had changed. The wood edge bled a brownish vein. The girl tasted copper. The fox, undaunted, stared the girl down. Spellbound, she lost her confidence to jam the wooden stock against her shoulder and kill him. She knew he knew her. He tasted the chicken flesh behind her knees. His razor-ribbon fangs could peel her lips like an egg, given the chance. The red sun was setting. The long war flicked its tail. And that would be World War I. He was writing a lot at that time. And I'll finish with Wintry Peacock, which is also D.H. Lawrence. And the epigraph is, as if they were three frail boats opening their feathers like ragged sails. And I wrote this kind of when my dad had died because, you know, when you're walking through the woods and all the trees are like, they remind me of gravestones or tombstones because a lot of times you'll see people's names, you know, I love you, blah, blah, blah. So to me at that time it became a kind of graveyard. Wintry Peacock. Each day I walk through a forest with somebody's name carved on a tree. In the winter, I had seen peacocks and hens, and like the old story, birds flew before me, feathers wet with snow. Each of us alone, unafraid, were trespassing through cemetery trees. Tomorrow will be someone else walking and listening to the forest. I whispered the blind man's ashes, powdery and gray. A chimney of mist leaves my mouth, forms a dull sentence. Forest deer ramble on their way, never a sermon or a regret. The trees clutch the green prayer shawls, tremble in the snow. My footprints fill. The forest becomes an unblinking eye, silver and blue, cold and fearless. It is yesterday, yesterday still. A deer dreams of my strangeness, smells my winter skin. And that's it.